So we've got a really nice camera in our game now. It rotates so that it's always facing the player, but the problem is the player always treats the same direction as being forwards. Even if I'm facing this way, forwards sends me that way. If I'm facing this way, forwards still sends me that way. I'd love it if forwards meant whatever direction my camera was facing. So I'm going to fix that, and it's actually a surprisingly easy fix in my script. We want to scroll down to this line that's setting the direction. And right now it is set based on the player's transform, but all we need to do to set it based on the camera's transform is change this word transform to camera pivot. And that has fixed that problem. Now, if my camera is facing this way, that's the direction that our direction is going to be set to. The camera's facing that way, whatever way I'm facing, that's my direction. I do still have one final little problem, which is that if I'm facing this way, really, my player should face that way too. It's one thing to treat that as forwards, but that visor, that should be turning around to face whatever way I'm facing. So let's fix that problem. That's going to be fixed by actually rotating our mesh. Right now our mesh is the thing that's always facing negative Z. It's facing kind of north or whatever you want to call it. And we want to rotate that mesh. So just planning ahead, I am going to be adding a whole bunch of fancy players and dogs and things soon instead of this boring looking capsule. I could probably rotate this mesh pretty easily, but when we come to adding more fancy players, it would be nice if this mesh was inside some kind of box and we just rotated that instead. So I'm going to add a new node 3D to our player, just a blank node 3D. And I'm going to call it player mesh, and it's just going to be a place to store all the meshes for our player. So if the mesh gets really, really complicated, then moving the player mesh is still going to rotate the entire thing. So what I've just done there, I've added player mesh to my player, and then I've dragged the mesh I already had so that it's inside player mesh. That order doesn't matter too much. If your one's down here, that's fine too, but we just want it so that all the rest of our meshes are inside this new little box called player mesh. Then I'm going to grab a reference to this new thing, player mesh, in my script so that I can rotate that player mesh around. And scroll back to the top where I've got the reference to my other objects. I'm going to drag player mesh, be sure to hold control before I let go. So I've got a reference to my player mesh, and now I can rotate that player mesh around. I'm going to do that down here, back where we've done our direction. We've set our direction now. The direction should always be correct, and we just want to make sure that our mesh is rotating in whatever direction that is looking. So we don't need to rotate if we've stopped moving. We just want to rotate if we've changed our direction. And the word for rotating is this word we've got here, basis. Basis is like a combination of rotating and scaling. So if I change my player mesh basis, player mesh dot basis, then that's going to change which way the mesh is facing. And I'm going to change it to sort of function here, looking at direction. So whichever way the direction is going, I'm going to make the player mesh face that same direction. Let's watch how that plays. If the camera is facing forward and the player is going forward, nothing changes. If the player is going backwards, it turns around to face backwards. If it's going sideways, it turns around to face sideways. And even better, if I move my camera and this becomes forwards, then the player is going to face that new forwards. So whatever way I'm facing, if I'm holding down W, player's facing away from me. If I'm holding down S, player's facing towards me. It's pretty nice, but it is a bit choppy because it just instantly snaps to whatever direction my arrow keys are telling the player to go. So one final fix that we're going to do is instead of jumping immediately to that direction, we're going to take a bit of time to jump to that direction. There's a function called lerp. It's a very odd word. It's a programming word. It's short for interpolate. Or in fact, I think it's short for linearly interpolate, but all it really means is move somewhere slowly instead of moving there straight away. So I'm going to start from the old value of the player mesh basis, and I'm going to move slowly towards this new value, the direction that I'm looking. The final thing in this function is going to be how quickly I move there, and it's going to be based on delta. It seems like 10 times delta is a reasonable speed to change between our old direction that we're facing and the new direction we're facing. So this just means we won't snap to a direction, we're going to get there slowly. Let's try it out. If I'm facing one direction and then I turn around, you can see I don't just snap to that direction, the player turns to follow me around. And with that, we've finally got a complete and working character. All that's left to do is use something a bit less disappointing than this capsule. We're going to change it out now for all of the assets that we've got on Google Classroom. So that's our finished player, really. You could stop here. That could be our good working game. It's always facing the right direction. It's perfectly controllable and finished as a character. It's just not very pretty yet, so now we're going to add in our cool assets and animations and things.